Talbot in tonight's final of the Xerox Canadian Open Squash Championship at the Metro Convention Center. Kahn has won 2 of his last 3 meetings with Talbot.
He can play the hardball, Joseph, and he beats everybody and anybody.
The Metro Toronto Convention Center, Toronto, early spring. The cavernous room is brimming with fans of a sport that, until recently, was seen only in colleges and private clubs. And most private of all were the secrets of the game itself. The Xerox Canadian Open Hardball Squash Championships. 7 months on the road for the greatest magicians in a sport that holds magic for all those that wield a racket have led to this match. Mark Talbot, the world's #1 ranked player in the fast-paced hardball game, and Jahangir Khan, the undisputed champion of the softball game. Slow motion reveals the subtleties of what is considered to be one of the fastest games on earth. The combined efforts of body, arm, wrist, and squash racket work together like a finely tuned machine. One break in the rhythm, one mental lapse, will send the ball off its desired course, giving the opponent the necessary time and position to put it away, to hit the unreachable shot. Khan wins the first game. 2 more will earn him the greatest title and the biggest payday of the year. But the story does not begin here. Rochester, New York. The changing colors of early fall mark a change in the city's recreational patterns. People move indoors, and with them go a contingent of squash players who earn a living by being the best. The Xerox Desenex Classic kicks off the 1984-85 World Professional Squash Tour. The previous season's battles are largely forgotten as each player sets his sights on new goals and new territory. Mexico's Mario Sanchez.
Oh, it's beautiful. I have been out of tournaments in the last 5 months, and it's beautiful to go back and play squash again. I trained for 3 months before the season. I not only play, I run a lot. I make interval trainings around long distance, short distance, until I get in shape. I'm trying to go up in my ranking, at least 1 place. I'm number 3 right now. I'm currently 3, and I want to be number 1.
Sanchez is the best of a fine crop of squash players that has emerged in recent years from Mexico. In this tournament, Sanchez advanced to the semifinals before being turned back by Tom Page of the U.S. Mario would have to wait for his shot at #1. In the 1983-84 season, Mark Talbot won 11 tournaments and earned the #1 ranking on the World Professional Squash Association Tour.
It's going to take us all a couple of weeks to sharpen our games up, but we're all really enthusiastic and just happy to be back on tour and happy to be playing some competitive matches again. I've been training pretty hard all summer, so I'm hoping that I feel I'm in pretty good condition right now, as I think most of the players do.
In the final, Talbot faced Tom Page, a 28-year-old from New York City. Once again, slow motion reveals a critical element of the game. After each shot, players return to the tee, where the service boundaries intersect, giving them maximum control of the court before chasing the next shot unleashed by the opponent. In the end, Mark Talbot proved too strong for his rival and captured the first stop in what would be a very long and demanding tour. Montreal. On a quiet Sunday morning in late October, behind the doors of the historic Montreal Amateur Athletic Association clubhouse, Another championship is about to be decided. The hallways of this club echo a past that helped give rise to the popularity of squash. The sport of business, its growth is fueled by the passion of those who play it, especially those who have made it their career.
It's fundamentally, as a lot of people say, we've got the lunatics running the asylum here, and instead of baseball and football, they really are the workers as a part of a sports league. In this case, the sports league has actually been created by the professionals themselves, and we are the individuals that establish policy for the tour and how all of the money is broken down, and really all aspects of the tour are controlled by the professionals themselves. As a result, it's really given us a much greater stability. It's a non-profit organization geared simply to promoting the game, and it's totally controlled by the professionals, quite unique in professional sport.
The finals of the 42nd Annual Montreal Amateur Athletic Association Invitational featured Mark Talbot against a new adversary, John Nimitz, a promising 25-year-old who holds a 5th-place world ranking as a result of a tremendous previous season. Between games, Talbot adjusts his protective eye gear. With rackets and balls sailing within inches of each other's faces, safety glasses are often protection against injury that could end an entire career. In the 4th game, with Talbot leading 2-1, the gap widened. Talbot increases the pressure through greater pace and capitalizes on his opponent's diminishing defense against the onslaught. Stop number 2 is complete, and Mark Talbot is undefeated. For most players, back-to-back victories such as this would be glorious. But for Mark Talbot, the real challenge is yet to come. Boston, Massachusetts. History rings out from every street corner, and on this November weekend, history will be written once again. In a circular building called the Cyclorama, the Xerox Boston Open is held. A series of firsts are to be witnessed within these colorful confines, and as Graham Campbell of Xerox points out, the season's first look at the WPSA's new tour court is a significant milestone.
We see squash, particularly with the advent of the glass court, the 3-sided portable glass court that the WPSA now has in operation. And there is so much greater opportunity for people who play the sport to come and become involved with it and see it. We are even more convinced than we once were that the people that we want to talk to are involved with squash, are a part of the sport, and we see that growing as this portable court gets wider use.
With the glass-enclosed tour court comes a festive atmosphere.
Oh yeah, that's good. This is very popular. Bumper sticker for the old back of the Cadillac.
The mood within the building brightens even further as one of the largest crowds ever to witness a squash match settles in to watch their hometown favorite. Mark Talbot, who now calls Boston home after several years as a nomad, delights the audience as he battles a young and defiant Alex Ducasse of Montreal. In the semifinals, Talbot's victim was Mario Sanchez, who grudgingly went down in a thrilling 5-game match. The victory gave Talbot the opportunity to meet the man he had prepared all summer to challenge. Jahangir Khan, the world champion in softball, a slower, more endurance-oriented form of squash. This would be his first appearance on the Pro Hardball Tour this year. Last season, Jahangir posted a 27-1 win-loss record on the tour, winning several tournaments, including a Boston Open.
I mean, I try to play the same like a softball because, you know, I don't really understand that much in hardball because they play a lot of angles, which I don't do. But I try to play the same sort of shot which I use in softball, and it's helped me in the game.
On Monday, November 12th, a packed house looked on as Talbot and Khan settled in for an evening of spectacular squash. It soon became evident that Talbot's physical training during the off-season had closed an obvious gap between him and his opponent. Many consider Jahangir Khan to be one of the world's fittest athletes. Mistakes are few and far between, but after 2 games, Talbot's shot-making put him out front 2-love, and the crowd can taste the impending upset. But Jahangir fought back and tied the best of 5 games at 2 apiece, and forced critical overtime points in the 5th game. After 2.5 hours of exhausting effort, it was Khan that made the crucial error, giving Talbot the most satisfying victory of his career. For the fans in Boston, it was a climactic end to one of the greatest squash shows ever seen. And for 23-year-old Mark Talbot, a father's greeting as he emerged from the court was a fitting reward for a lifetime spent in pursuit of excellence, one that began at home.
I grew up in a house my grandfather built in Dayton, Ohio, and the house had a squash court in it, actually. My grandfather used to call it the RAC, the Runnymede Athletic Club. We grew up on Runnymede Road, and he was a bit of a joker and made this patch that we all wear in our blazers now. It says RAC, and it has a skunk on it. And he used to take these team trips, like from Dayton up to Buffalo and things, and they'd take a skunk as their pet mascot and travel around with this. And so we've kind of reenacted. My parents live in Atlanta now. My family lives in Atlanta, and we've sort of reenacted the RAC and built a squash court at our summer place down in the Florida Keys at Key West. And so we've reenacted the RAC, and it's the southernmost squash court in the U.S.
To counter the challenge of Jahangir Khan's endurance, Talbot embarked upon a more intensive conditioning program, and it is paying off.
You never really have an easy round anymore. I especially see it in the college ranks and the universities in the States. There's so many good young players coming up that conditioning is a big factor, and it's something that I concentrate a lot on.
Talbot's success on the court has provided financial rewards that allow a total commitment to the game. But for a young man who used to live out of a camper van by choice and who prefers the great outdoors to the hustle of the city, there are greater rewards.
I guess the big things, number one, is just the camaraderie and the friendships that I've made through the sport. Luckily, it's a tremendous group of guys on the tour. They're really my best friends. And we do a lot of traveling together, and I enjoy the traveling. And I enjoy seeing new places and going new places and having new experiences. I'm constantly meeting people, and we're always experiencing new things, and I think it's helping me grow up and learn things. I'm learning things all the time, and I enjoy that a lot. And I enjoy the playing also. I enjoy the exercise, and I love the sport. It's exciting, and I like to play.
Toronto. January's deep freeze brings the skaters out to Nathan Phillips Square. And while the snow flies outdoors, across the street people rush indoors to the Sheraton Center Grand Ballroom, where a new attendance record is set for squash, as the now famous WPSA Tour Court arrives in what is considered to be the capital of the sport in North America. Over 600 squash courts in over 120 clubs are in existence as the squash-mad public eagerly consumes the sport for fun and fitness. Across Canada, the sport annually grows by over 15%, and worldwide there are more than 12 million squash players. Today, though, the veterans and novices alike are fans, anxious to see how it's done by the best in the business as the 53rd Annual World Professional Championships get underway. Victory in Boston earned Talbot the #1 seeding this time out, and in quarterfinal play against Clive Caldwell, his tenacious attack resulted in a 3-love victory. Likewise, in the lower half of the elimination draw, Jahangir Khan proved lethal as he continued his road to a rematch with a shutout victory over fast-improving Todd Binns of Toronto. In the semifinals, Talbot would have to deal with Ned Edwards. Edwards, a native of New York City, finished the previous season looking over Talbot's shoulder in the #2 slot of the World Hardball rankings. But this proved to be Talbot's day, and a 3-1 victory put Ned on the sidelines to watch the outcome of this contest, a rematch of an encounter last season in which Mario Sanchez became the only player to defeat the unstoppable Jahangir Khan. The early action indicated that Sanchez had the power once again to defeat his famous opponent. Sanchez was content to power the ball up and down the side walls, waiting for a crack in the armor of Khan's defense to drive home the winner. After 3 games, Sanchez was ahead 2-1, and the crowd roared their approval for the underdog. Ramat Khan, Jahangir's cousin, coach, and mentor, calms his young protege. And like a man brought back to life, Jahangir surges ahead to win the 4th and the 5th and deciding game, 15-love. The final between Talbot and Khan is televised by the CTV network. Its president, Murray Chirkover, himself an avid player, sees the sport growing even further as television reaches those still unfamiliar with the game's dynamics.
The game itself has all the intensity of any of the major league sports events, but it's a more intimate game, a game in which you see the two combatants. It's closer to boxing than it is to any team sport. The other wonderful quality about the game is the personalities involved with it. Unlike boxing, there is a sense of sharing of space. In this game, you share the court with your opponent. If the public can become aware of the subtlety and at the same time the intensity of this sport, as they have apparently through television and the opportunity, as we see it here, to bring more people into a spectator position as we bring in the new technological advances, I think they're going to take to this sport very, very strongly.
With the games tied 1 apiece, Jahangir Khan found the handle and used his shot-making ability to throw Talbot off balance and move to within 1 game of victory and avenge their previous encounter. Just as it seems that Talbot is on the run, it is Jahangir that flies from end to end and side to side. But too often for Talbot, the constant pressure proves fatal. Jahangir leading 14-5 in the 4th game. 1 point from victory and the $10,000 purse has the match all but decided. His deceptive strokes throw Talbot off balance once again, and the man, whose name literally translates to conqueror of the world, takes 1 step closer to living up to his reputation. Denver, Colorado. The St. Patrick's Day Parade heralds the arrival of spring in the shadow of the Rocky Mountains. On a street nearby, there is action of a different sort. The Denver Athletic Club has witnessed a parade of stars in the Hashim Khan Invitational, which has climaxed in a showdown between Sharif Khan, the once undisputed king of the hardball, and Mark Talbot, representative of a new era in squash. Sharif Khan, at 43 years of age, maintains a strong presence in a sport in which for 14 straight years, from 1969 to 1982, he was ranked #1. If Sharif Khan is the link between past and present on the pro circuit, it is a link formed through blood as well as battle, for he is the son of Hashim Khan, arguably one of the greatest players ever to step onto a court. He was born in Pakistan near the Khyber Pass and it wasn't until he was 36 that he won his first British Open championship. In all, he would capture the title 7 times and the North American hardball title 3 times. His uncanny quickness and perhaps the best hand-eye coordination in all of sports history have made him a legend in his time. Today, Hashim is in his early 70s, an age when most grandfathers are content to sit on the porch and reminisce. But Hashim prefers to do it at the Denver Athletic Club, where he is still very much active as the club professional.
I was very fast, much faster than these people. I was used to go in the court to check all the 4 walls. If there's any hole in the wall, to keep the ball away from me. Otherwise, impossible to keep the ball away from me. I win in United States, US Open, Canadian Open, US Professional in 55-year age. Then you can tell the difference. I think I was in good condition, and I was the, that is not look good to tell I was the best, but I think I was the best.
The contributions that Hashim has made to the game in North America are enormous, but his legacy is as much evident through the achievements of his sons as through his own record on the court. In addition to Sharif, there are 5 other sons playing in the professional circuit, including Charlie, ranked number 13, Gul, ranked number 14, and Aziz, ranked number 11. And cousin to the clan is Jahangir Khan. Long before the squash professional became a superstar, it was his teaching abilities that counted most, and Hashim's sharing of knowledge has helped many, including his sons.
Squash game is not look like, but it's a chess game. You need to think all the time what you're supposed to do. Therefore, all these youngest first to be in good condition. Second, they all 4 should work the same time, automatic thing, footwork, handwork, eyes. The 2 things is very important in the championship. If you make air, you beat yourself. If you hit back to your opponent, you're in big trouble.
That advice was no doubt heeded for many years by Sharif Khan. But age can catch up to the best of Khans, and one of the most deceptive players in the game had his hands full with speedy Mark Talbot. The appearance of Sharif in the final of his father's own tournament was a crowd pleaser, and their support for both players helped to produce an exciting brand of squash. But Mark Talbot was not about to let sentiment stand in the way of another tour victory, and an accumulating computer point total that above all would determine the season's #1 ranking. In the end, it was Talbot 3, Sharif Khan 1.
I found it really exciting.
It's different. It was an interesting perspective.
I think it's a wonderful opportunity to see the best players in the world play squash.
It's quite different, you know, on the stage, but I'm very excited about the squash. I love the squash very much.
The setting is New York City, and the excitement surrounds the most novel staging ever of a pro tournament. In fact, the stage of a Broadway theater is the site of the 1985 North American Open. The lobby of the town hall looks more like the intermission during a performance of Cats. But the attraction on this night is strictly squash, and a well-heeled gathering of New Yorkers found it well worth the price of admission. The first semifinal featured the return of Jahangir Khan to the tour, playing Ned Edwards, a hometown hero in the Big Apple. In the first 2 games, Khan was overwhelming, but in the third, a determined Edwards forced extra points as he pulled even at 14-all. A blistering forehand by Khan ends it quickly, and Jahangir waits to meet Talbot once again. Talbot, however, would have his hands full with newcomer Steve Bowditch, a softball player originally from Australia. Bowditch has spent a great deal of time perfecting his skills with the fast-paced hardball game. Talbot, as expected, took the early lead at 2-1, but Bowditch persisted through a tense fourth game overtime. In the fifth game, a shocked audience watched Bowditch put the match away and cancel out another anticipated Kahn-Talbot battle. Like actors waiting for their cue, Jahangir Khan and Steve Bowditch prepare mentally for their coming performance. The unusual setting seems to inspire both players as a great display is put on for the appreciative audience. As in the Talbot match, Bowditch goes behind 2-0 before finding a groove. The third game is closer and goes into overtime. And though he puts everything he has on the line, it's too little and too late for Steve Bowditch. Jahangir Khan, at just 21 years of age, once again displays the skill, composure, and quiet temperament that translate into winning. It's a positive, determined attitude that began with a graveside pledge to his dead brother.
Sad story that my brother died in early stage, which that was his ambition to make him world #1. And obviously, because of him, when he died, so I just wanted to do his ambition. And I promised that I will do what he wanted to do for me. And since then, I've become the world champion in 2 years, and now won every world title in the world.
And what of the future? Can Jahangir Khan maintain this all-consuming drive to be #1?
It will come one day, I would say, because I won't be champion forever. And I believe in that I will lose one day. And if someone will come and beat me there, softball or hardball, well, he'd be working harder than me then. That's the thing.
At the moment, it seems that he does work the hardest, and the rewards are plentiful.
Jahangir is successful business-wise due to various endorsements that we have procured for him, due to the fact that he's the world champion, which makes it considerably easy. He probably has he does have the most lucrative endorsements that has ever been in squash. If he doesn't use the product, he doesn't endorse it. For example, alcohol. His religious beliefs don't allow that, and squash it shouldn't be in. Orange juice, yes. Everything from toothpaste to rackets we are interested in.
It's really hard to keep at the moment because there's so many young players coming up and they all have their target to become the world champion and world #1. And obviously it's hard to keep on that stage, and it's a lot of pressure on me. But I don't really get scared by that. If I lose today, I've got an opportunity that I can come back again because age on my side. And if I lose today, I'll try to come back.
And so we return to the Metro Toronto Convention Center, where the World Professional Squash Tour with thrilling action comes nearer to the end. Jahangir Khan leads 2-0, and once again, Mark Talbot must fight back if he is to repeat his great victory in Boston, which now seems so long ago. And fight back he does, digging for Jahangir's crisp low drives and sending them back with as much of his own power as he can muster. But Khan is merciless, and there is one too many drives for each of Talbot's return. As game number 3 wears on, Talbot turns the tide and forces the play, something he must do to win. Winning the third game allows Talbot time to regroup, but even he realizes the monumental struggle ahead if he is to win the next 2 games from a man who operates like an unrelenting, untiring machine. But besides the fitness and the fun and the financial rewards of the game, squash builds something that lasts forever: character. Because in close quarters, you must have absolute respect for your opponent, though you simultaneously engineer his defeat. And ultimately, this breeds self-respect, which translates into a winning attitude no matter how the odds are stacked. On the tour, as in friendly games in countless clubs, no one gives up. And so Jahangir Khan claimed the 1985 Xerox Canadian Open title. But there is more than one winner on the tour. For each player that summons his full potential and goes the distance, who gives it all in every round, every game, every point, is someone to learn from, to cheer, and to say, congratulations.